Hi, I keep encountering posts on LinkedIn which point to a completely inadequate procurement process. I've been involved in procurement of ERP and other business systems for very many years. And in that process, I worked with a construction client who was very familiar with the tender process that's used in large construction projects. And working closely with him, I put together a document pack and a process which is really bulletproof, delivers an exceptional outcome, and I'm going to share that with you now. So what we're talking about is getting the project off on the right foot. We're looking at a robust tender process, a well-proven document pack, a tough RFP that closes all the loopholes, and so on and so forth. I'm going to take you through this in a minute. As I say, this was developed with a civil engineering client who had experience of being on the receiving end of large tenders. And so it's a very, very well-proven and very robust approach. And what you're looking for ultimately is that you can line the bids up next to each other on a boardroom table and compare them section by section. Some principles: you need to strategically define the requirement, the strategic essence. Folks, this is absolutely critical. If you don't get the strategic essence captured in your documentation, you're going to miss the point. You need to be able to line up different bids, as I said. In that process, you want to screen out those that are going to bid low and then try and negotiate, change the scope. You need to zoom in progressively on the most appropriate software and the most appropriate implementer, and you need to evaluate providers and build relationship with them before you contract. So we're talking about a proven document pack, and you see there the table of contents. Each document has been carefully crafted and refined. It's proven, it's comprehensive, it covers all bases, and it ends up you comparing apples with apples. So the first major document is the request for proposal, RFP. You see the table of contents there. It's tough. It closes all loopholes, and it's designed to filter out chances and to make sure that everything that needs to be on the table to arrive at a reliable fixed price is on the table. With that goes the strategic requirement specification, which is the most important document in the pack. Understand the strategic essence of the business, capture that in this document, and make sure that everything that is necessary for the business to thrive is taken into account. And that filters through into the strategic alignment section of my ERP accelerator implementation method. Procurement timeline: it's significant time, folks. This is a moderate sized client, close to 2 months. Larger client, it's going to be more. And you can't really compress it much because each step takes a certain amount of time for people to go through the process. But you need to publish that right up front so everybody can plan to make sure the right people are at the right meetings, and you need to stick to that schedule. So don't make it too tight. Give yourself a bit of slack. The software schedule: list all the software components that you think you need, and the implementers in their discovery process can fill in the gaps. Bill of services, analogous to the bill of materials in a construction project. Every component of every service that's going to be supplied, rates per category of consultant, estimates of time, detailed. This becomes the basis of payment. So bills of claims for payment come in based on completion of certain tasks in the bill of services. The price is clearly defined. The scope is clearly defined. Compliance checklist: just a list of everything that the bidders have to take account of in preparing their submission to make sure that every submission is complete. The adjudication score sheet: about 7 major factors agreed with the client, each broken down into between 5 and 7 sub-factors, each weighted in terms of relative importance, and you score each evaluator scores each bid using the score sheet, gives you a weighted score, and you can compare the different results on a weighted basis, so it's an informed decision. Gut feel factors: there are also non-tangible elements. Do you feel you can work with this client? Is there a cultural fit? Remember, you're going to be, if you're putting in a new business system, ERP or whatever, you're talking about a minimum 20-year investment. So you've got to have a relationship with this organization for the next 20 years. Do you want to marry them? Prescribed table of contents. So every document is set out to exactly the same sequence so that it's easy to compare bids. Certificates: every facet of the project right through to go live with certificates that need to be signed off on to testify that everything is complete. Schedule of reference documents, every existing report, every spreadsheet, every piece of bespoke software. But you're going to say to me, James, that's a lot of work. Well, it's going to be a lot more work if you don't get it right the first time. The goal here is to fully document what you have and what your expectations are so that there are no surprises 6 months or a year down the track when you're in the middle of implementation and somebody says, well, we need this report and we haven't budgeted for it. Process, stage one, cost the net wide, all relevant vendors, recommend the most suitable, appropriate firm for your business. Stage two, narrow this down to a short list of about 3, do site visits, a day or more on site with the client organization, and other measures necessary to narrow down the offer price. Stage three, a preferred bidder, at least 5 days on site to make sure they understand your business and we get to know them, split the cost 50-50, agree the timeline, agree the budget, working towards a fixed price with a high level of confidence on both sides, agree the contract, and then executive committee board accept and approve. So that when you sign, you have got a rock solid definition of what's got to be done. You've got a relationship with the bidder and you know it's going to work. Absolutely critical. In conclusion, it's a robust, proven process. It's comprehensive. It results in a tough contract that protects the client. So you bind in the RFP, the strategic requirements specification, and all the other documents into the contract so that there's absolutely no wriggle room and there's no doubt as to what it is that's going to be delivered. In that process, you select the most appropriate software with the most appropriate implementer at a right price, at an enforceable fixed price, and you build a relationship before contracting and you make sure that you've covered all the angles so that your price is a solid figure. And it lays the foundation for an exemplary outcome. Please drop your questions in the comments below. And to learn more about my 90-minute free briefing, how to maximize ERP value, there's a link in the comments as well. And whether you're a client organization or an implementer, a practitioner, I would welcome you at that briefing and I welcome the opportunity to work with you. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much. Cheerio.